Emiya Shigen, Konoha village, in a dim underground chamber. At the center of this chamber stood a sealed crystal coffin. The coffin looked peculiar, its surface was adorned with intricate patterns, but inside lay only half of a human corpse. From outside the coffin, one could clearly see the internal organs of the corpse, making it resemble a medical specimen used by students studying anatomy. This eerie sight made the chamber feel even more unsettling. A silver-haired man stood inside, unfazed by the grim surroundings. His crimson eyes gazed coldly and decisively at the crystal coffin in front of him. Tobirama-sama, an Anbu ninja, wearing a mask, entered the chamber, dragging a bound ninja behind him. Recently, several enemy ninjas from other nations have infiltrated the village to gather intelligence. After searching the prison, we found this ninja from Sunagaku. His chakra is the strongest among all the prisoners. Tobirama's gaze sharpened. How is my brother doing? Realizing his mistake in addressing, he corrected himself. I mean, how is the Hokage's condition? The Anbu ninja hesitated before responding. He's still receiving treatment, but Lady Mito has said that the injuries are severe and may affect his lifespan. Tobirama's expression darkened. And what about the Uchiha clan? Any unusual movements? None so far. The Anbu shook his head. Since the news broke yesterday that Madara Uchiha was killed by the first Hokage, the Uchiha clan members have shown signs of fear but no other suspicious behavior. Maintain close surveillance. Yes, Tobirama-sama. After giving his orders, Tobirama turned his attention to the bound ninja. His tone was firm. Increase patrols throughout the village. Station a squad outside this chamber. No one is to approach. Understood. The Anbu ninja swiftly retreated. MMFFF. MMFF. The Sunagaku ninja, bound and gagged, struggled frantically, his eyes wide with desperation as he tried to speak. I know what you want to say. Tobirama's voice was cold, but I'm not interested in your excuses. You sneaked into Konoha to confirm one thing, that my brother and Madara destroyed each other. HMPH, keep dreaming. Tobirama shifted his gaze back to the crystal coffin before him, as if using it to declare to the entire ninja world. This coffin holds the origin of all medical ninjutsu. Emiya Shigen, you must have heard that name. The bound ninja's eyes widened with shock. Emiya Shigen. A name that resonated like thunder throughout the ninja world. Known as the saint of the ninja world, Emiya Shigen had lived over 1,000 years ago. He was the one who pioneered the concept of medical ninjutsu and established the training system for medical ninjas. Legends said he treated patients regardless of their identity. No matter how severe the condition, his hands could cure anything. It was said that the number of people he saved exceeded the population of some entire countries. But what made him truly revered was the way he died. To ensure that medical ninjutsu would be passed down through generations, to eliminate the prejudice against surgical anatomy, he ordered his body to be preserved as a specimen in 2 crystal coffins after his death. Even during the chaotic warring states period, when ninja clans slaughtered one another, no one dared to destroy his coffins. Though few had ever seen them, they remained a symbol of peace. The Sunagaku ninja stared at the half-corpse inside the crystal coffin with a mix of shock, awe, and unease. But what connection could a dead man from the past possibly have with the present? Could this 1,000-year-old medical ninja really help treat the first Hokage? Or did the coffin hold secrets of ancient medical techniques? The Senju clan has always been renowned for chakra control, making us naturally suited to medical ninjutsu. This crystal coffin was specifically entrusted to our ancestors by Emiya Shigen himself before his death. Even though most of us focus on combat, we've always regarded this coffin as a source of pride. Tobirama's eyes narrowed as he traced the intricate patterns on the coffin. His voice grew softer. I never thought I'd be the one to destroy it. The Sunagaku ninja's eyes widened in horror. But, for my brother, everything is worth sacrificing. With determination in his gaze, Tobirama gathered chakra in his hand and slammed it onto the crystal coffin. Crash! The crystal shattered, and the half-corpse inside tumbled to the ground. The bound ninja watched in terror as the corpse hit the floor. The sight was so horrifying that he trembled uncontrollably. Only my brother can maintain peace in Konoha. Tobirama began forming hand seals at lightning speed, his voice calm yet filled with chilling resolve. Even if there's only a 1 in a million chance. Even if it means desecrating a soul. Ninja art. Edo Tensei. Dark runes spread from Tobirama's palm, flowing across the floor, encircling the corpse and the bound ninja. Before the Sunagaku ninja could fully comprehend what was happening, the ashes from the ancient corpse began to swirl, attaching themselves to his body. A suffocating sense of despair consumed him as he realized what was happening. The ashes covered his eyes, until nothing was left. The ninja's body was completely enveloped by the ashes. Tobirama watched closely as the figure began to take shape. His technique had succeeded. The Edo Tensei was complete. A figure emerged from the swirling ashes, a young man with an air of compassion far beyond his years. His expression matched the saintly reputation he had earned during his life. The resurrected Emiya Shigen opened his eyes. He looked down at his body, a confused expression on his face. Why was he alive again? Where was he? Tobirama stepped forward, his tone respectful. Emiya Shigen-sama, I am Senju Tobirama, the one who brought you back from the afterlife. I apologize for disturbing your peace, but we need your help to save someone who is vital to the ninja world. I hope you can forgive our transgression. Emiya Shigen observed Tobirama. Senju. Upon hearing that name, his expression softened. If it's to save lives, then I can forgive it. Despite being pulled from eternal rest, the saintly ninja showed no resentment. His only concern was the patient's condition. Where's the patient? I'll take you there. Relieved, Tobirama dropped his hidden hand signs meant to control him. This saint didn't need to be manipulated. However, Tobirama failed to notice something. The resurrected Emiya Shigen's eyes, soulless, devoid of warmth, betrayed no real concern for the patient. Instead, a faint red glow flickered in his gaze. The system was still active. Reconnecting to Ninja System. Welcome back, Ninja Emiya Shigen. Unfinished missions detected. Mission log 2/3. SSSSS rank. Defeat Kagaya Otsutsuki, the immortal progenitor of chakra. SSSSS rank. Defeat Naruto Uzumaki, Sage of Six Paths mode, and Sasuke Uchiha Rinnegan. The power still remained. Emiya Shigen's eyes flashed with red light. His long-laid plans had finally reached this era. 19 comments 0 vote. The origins of the Senju and Uzumaki clans. Konoha village wasn't prosperous. At least, not in this era. Many buildings were roughly constructed, likely due to the villagers being too preoccupied with daily affairs to focus on craftsmanship. Emiya Shigen paid no mind to the village's simplicity. He instead looked around curiously, interested in the sights of this world after his resurrection. This is the village we live in, said Senju Tobirama as he issued instructions to the Anbu to secure the area. He then glanced at Emiya Shigen and began explaining the current era. It has been over 1,000 years since your time. 1,000 years. Emiya Shigen sighed softly, a trace of melancholy in his expression. No wonder the architecture is so different from what I remember. After commenting on the village's buildings, his eyes lit up with sudden excitement. Now that a millennium has passed, medical ninjutsu must have advanced tremendously. After all, we never had resurrection techniques back in my time. The wisdom of later generations is truly remarkable. Quote. Tobirama's expression became awkward. Not quite. He sighed, bracing himself to manage the legendary medical ninja's expectations. The technique that resurrected you is a forbidden jutsu meant for battle. It's pure luck that you've retained your consciousness. As for medical ninjutsu, it hasn't advanced much since your era. Is that so? Emiya Shigen's enthusiasm visibly dimmed. His expression darkened as if his ideals had been shattered. So, humans have ultimately continued to use chakra as a tool for warfare. For a medical ninja, war was undoubtedly the worst thing imaginable. Since the Senju clan had preserved Emiya Shigen's crystal coffin for generations, Tobirama had grown up hearing many stories about him. He understood Shigen's ideals but knew he had to help this ancient saint see reality. Everything we've done has been for survival. In the brutal Warring States era, we had no choice but to refine our combat abilities through chakra to stay alive. Tobirama recounted the chaos of that time and took the opportunity to praise his elder brother, hoping Emiya Shigen would understand the significance of his brother's contributions. Fortunately, the war finally came to an end. My brother, Senju Hashirama, used his immense strength to bring peace to the Warring States era. He established a system of nations and ninja villages to prevent further bloodshed. We invited various ninja clans to form Konoha so that those who once fought each other could now become comrades living in a shared village. And in the future, Tobirama paused, using the moment to paint a hopeful vision for the future. If my brother's injuries heal without affecting his lifespan, his influence will undoubtedly maintain peace in the ninja world. With peace, medical ninjutsu will flourish. Emiya Shigen's expression became complicated. Still, he chose not to shatter Tobirama's optimistic vision. Instead, he sighed softly. Don't worry, I've never abandoned a patient. And since you carry the Senju name, I'll do my best to help. Tobirama showed no embarrassment at his blatant attempt to manipulate Shigen's goodwill. After all, as Konoha's acting leader, Tobirama never cared about appearances. His only concern was achieving his goals. However, Tobirama sensed that this ancient saint might have a deeper story. Noticing Shigen's familiarity with the Senju name, Tobirama decided to probe further. Emiya-sama, it seems you share some history with our Senju clan. Our children grow up hearing your stories. Indeed, Shigen replied casually. If you are the descendants of Asura. Asura, that's right. Shigen walked alongside Tobirama, reminiscing as if recounting old times. I had a friend named Asura. He couldn't use his father's surname, so I gave him 2 new surnames to pass down to his descendants. One was Senju, and the other was Uzumaki. Shigen's gaze fell on Tobirama, a wistful expression on his face. It seems Asura's descendants chose to carry the Senju name. Tobirama's eyes widened in shock. He hadn't expected the origins of his clan's name to be tied to such a story. It wasn't a lie. Both surnames, Senju and Uzumaki, existed, and both clans had continued to this day. The 2 clans shared the same distant ancestor, which explained their familial connection. In fact, both surnames were used. The Uzumaki clan, who share our bloodline, also survived. Taking a deep breath, Tobirama said solemnly, it's astonishing to learn that the surnames Senju and Uzumaki originated with you, Emiya-sama. He thought to himself that his brother, once healed, would likely have a lot to say about this revelation. After all, Tobirama had used a forbidden jutsu to resurrect a legendary figure, only to discover that this figure had direct ties to their clan's history. Time flies, and the world changes, Shigen said with a sigh, his voice filled with nostalgia. I never imagined Asura's descendants would still exist after all these years. Tobirama remained silent. It was clear from Shigen's tone that he and Asura had been close friends. That was a good thing. At least Tobirama could be confident that Shigen's intentions were friendly. Even so, Tobirama's cautious nature made him wary. He couldn't fully trust any power he couldn't control. For instance, the Uchiha clan. Although they were part of Konoha, Tobirama remained distrustful of them. After all, just days ago, Madara Uchiha, the former Uchiha clan leader, had attacked Konoha with the 9 tails, gravely wounding Hashirama. That incident only reinforced Tobirama's decision to tighten surveillance on the Uchiha. Even though Madara was dead, Tobirama couldn't be certain that no other dangerous figures would emerge from the Uchiha clan in the future. After all, Hashirama was a rare exception among the Senju. But Madara was not an anomaly among the Uchiha. The Uchiha's Sharingan, a powerful and unpredictable Kekkei Genkai, could evolve in ways that were difficult to predict. It was only a matter of time before another Madara appeared. This was a hidden threat. Suddenly, Shigen spoke again. I wonder, are there any descendants of Indra left? Tobirama's brow furrowed at the unfamiliar name, prompting Shigen to explain. Indra and Asura were brothers. Our ideologies clashed. Asura and I believed chakra should be used to connect and heal people. Indra believed chakra was a tool for ruling the world. In the end, we parted ways. I don't know what surname Indra's descendants use now, Shigen added. But they would have inherited a powerful Kekkei Genkai, one that manifests as a unique chakra in their eyes and evolves into formidable ocular techniques. Sharingan, Tobirama interjected with the name of the bloodline limit. His gaze darkened as he connected the dots. The Uchiha were Indra's descendants. The ancestors of the Senju and Uchiha clans, Asura and Indra, had been brothers. But one embodied peace, while the other sought domination. Evil is truly in the Uchiha's blood, Tobirama thought bitterly. Compared to the just and compassionate Asura, the Uchiha clan's ancestor, Indra, had harbored ambitions to rule the world. Even Emiya Shigen, a man of noble character, had distanced himself from Indra and his descendants. No wonder Tobirama could entrust the Uchiha. 10 comments 0 vote. The power of Emiya Shigen. Now, their surname is Uchiha. The Uchiha clan and the Senju clan have been at odds for generations. Senju Tobirama, as if finding a kindred spirit, eagerly began to vent his grievances about the Uchiha. My brother defeated the Uchiha clan and convinced them to join Konoha. But even now, there are those among them who carry the same evil inclinations as their ancestor. Tobirama failed to notice one crucial thing. His trust in Emiya Shigen had grown significantly. He felt a natural affinity for the ancient medical ninja, enjoying the stories Shigen shared, stories that validated many of his suspicions. And now Tobirama believed he had found a historical justification to keep a close eye on the Uchiha clan. My brother. A dark look clouded Tobirama's eyes as he spoke of someone he loathed. Was gravely injured by one such Uchiha. That man's name was Uchiha Madara. Tobirama didn't hide his hatred and disdain as he mentioned Madara. My brother invited him to end the chaos of the Warring States era together. But that man betrayed him. Leaving Konoha wasn't enough. He came back and tried to destroy the village and kill my brother. He wanted to plunge the ninja world back into war. Luckily, Madara Uchiha was dead. Finally, his brother no longer had to suffer because of him. Emiya Shigen sighed softly, his expression tinged with regret. It sounds like this Uchiha Madara was just as warlike as his ancestor. Back then, Asura wanted people to understand each other. But Indra sought to dominate the ninja world. Though they were brothers, their differing ideals drove them to conflict, a conflict that continued even after their deaths. HMPH. This is the evil passed down through bloodlines. Tobirama's face twisted in anger. Just like the cursed Sharingan they inherit, a bloodline limit steeped in emotion and destruction. Ah, the Sharingan. Emiya Shigen's gaze darkened as he recalled its history. I noticed long ago that Indra's Sharingan made him more extreme. Exactly. Tobirama nodded firmly, feeling he had found a kindred soul. The Sharingan evolves based on strong emotions. The more intense their feelings, the more their eyes change. And this means, the more powerful an Uchiha becomes, the more extreme they become. And the more extreme they become, the more powerful they grow. This was an unsolvable problem. If an Uchiha's emotions weren't properly guided, they would inevitably become dangerous. They needed to be watched. Strictly monitored. Closely controlled. In Tobirama's mind, the decision was made. He would establish a new department to manage the Uchiha clan. A department run by the Uchiha themselves, with their residents isolated for better surveillance. Konoha Hospital. The hospital was heavily guarded. The battle between Hashirama and Madara at the Valley of the End had been so intense that it reshaped the land itself, leaving behind a massive canyon. This wasn't something that could be hidden from the other ninja villages. Spies from various nations had been infiltrating Konoha, hoping to gather information about the first Hokage's condition. His survival was directly tied to the peace of the ninja world. Sasuke. Tobirama suddenly called out. Quote. Emiya Shigen's eye twitched. Wait, what? Sasuke. That's not right. This is the early days of Konoha's founding. Based on his knowledge from his past life, this should be shortly after the Valley of the End battle between Hashirama and Madara. How could there already be a Sasuke? Lord Tobirama. A young ninja approached swiftly. The youth glanced at Emiya Shigen with a hint of confusion and wariness. Who is this? This is Lord Emiya Shigen. Tobirama spoke with great respect. Sasuke, you can relax now. There's no need to worry about the village. I used a forbidden technique to resurrect Lord Emiya. He has agreed to treat my brother. You've heard of him, the greatest medical ninja in history. My brother's condition will be fine. The Emiya Shigen. The young ninja's eyes widened in astonishment. I grew up hearing stories about him. I never imagined I'd see him in person. This is Sarutobi Sasuke, Tobirama introduced. The head of Konoha's Jonin Corps and leader of the Sarutobi clan. Sasuke, you must keep Lord Emiya's resurrection a secret from the village. Tobirama wasn't a dictator. Even though he held significant power in Konoha while Hashirama was incapacitated, he understood that other clans within the village had the right to know about the situation. Should Hashirama's condition worsen, Konoha would be vulnerable to external threats. Sarutobi Sasuke was key to maintaining stability within Konoha. The Sarutobi clan, along with the Nara, Akamichi, and Yamanaka clans, had formed an alliance known as the Ino-Shika-Cho Trio during the Warring States period, with the Sarutobi clan at its core. Let me take Lord Emiya to the patient's room, Tobirama said, patting Sasuke on the shoulder before turning to guide Shigen. As they walked, Tobirama continued to praise Sarutobi Sasuke. Sasuke is a strong-willed ninja and a great leader. Even I can't compare to him in some ways. And his son, Hiruzen, is a talented student. He has already mastered the Sarutobi clan's summoning technique at a young age. Tobirama's gaze grew subtle. He clearly hoped Shigen might share some historical anecdotes about the Sarutobi clan. Quote, Emiya Shigen glanced at Tobirama with amusement. Does he expect me to know the Sarutobi clan's history? Unfortunately, Shigen knew nothing about their past, only their future. He shook his head gently. In my time, there was no Sarutobi clan. Back then, there was only the Raikudo Sennin. Raikudo Sennin? Tobirama's footsteps halted. He stared intently at Shigen. Did you meet the legendary Sage of Six Paths? Sage of Six Paths? Shigen chuckled softly. You mean to say the Senju clan doesn't know they're descended from him? Quote. Tobirama froze in place. The truth struck him like a lightning bolt. The Senju and Uzumaki clans were descendants of the Sage of Six Paths. Emiya Shigen, however, wasn't finished. The sage was a great man. He continued, his voice wistful. He was the first to donate his body to medical research after death. Of course, Shigen left out the real story. The sage's body hadn't exactly been willingly donated. Shigen had accepted a mission from his system to retrieve the Sage of Six Paths' body for research. It was thanks to that mission that Shigen had obtained true power in this world, including the Rinnegan and would release. Emiya Shigen's stats. Name: Emiya Shigen, Emiya General. Gender: male. Occupation: ninja. Chakra attributes: fire, wind, lightning, earth, water, yin, yang. Chakra level: unlimited. Edo Tensai. Emiya Shigen possessed wood release, eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinnegan, and Sage Mode, among many other powerful techniques. But his current Edo Tensai state limited his full potential. Emiya Shigen's gaze lingered on Tobirama. Tobirama was a hard man to deceive. Unfortunately for Shigen, he hadn't been resurrected by a reckless, power-hungry individual. If only the one who resurrected me had been more foolish. Then Shigen could have tricked them and fully resurrected himself using his Rinnegan abilities. But it wasn't too late. The game was just beginning. 4 comments 0 vote. Download the app for greater interaction. You can chat with me about my writing experience apart from the comments section. michaeI. Download app now. So you're bullying me because I'm ancient. In front of the Konoha hospital ward. Senju Tobirama sincerely requested that Emiya Shigen keep the secrets of ancient times hidden from others, especially from his elder brother, Senju Hashirama. Tobirama knew his brother too well. If Hashirama learned that the ancestors of the Senju and Uchiha clans were brothers, both descendants of the Sage of Six Paths, he would treat the Uchiha clan with even more tolerance and kindness. And that would hinder Tobirama's plans to suppress the Uchiha in the future. If possible, Tobirama would prefer that Emiya Shigen only reveal the story of the Uchiha ancestor Indra's evil, making it easier to justify keeping the Uchiha in check. However, Tobirama knew that Emiya Shigen was a righteous man, too righteous to play along with such manipulations. Thus, Tobirama crafted his words carefully. Lord Emiya. The current situation in Konoha is very unstable. Tobirama's voice took on a somber tone as he began to spin his carefully woven tale. If these ancient secrets were to be revealed, it would spark widespread discussion. While Madara Uchiha tried to destroy Konoha, we still wish to treat the Uchiha who joined the village as comrades. If the villagers hear about Indra's story, they'll undoubtedly believe that the Uchiha clan is inherently evil. They will isolate and reject them further. Emiya Shigen's expression turned a little strange. Wait a minute, are you trying to bully me because I'm from ancient times? I'm dead, not senile. Hearing Senju Tobirama claim that he wanted to prevent the village from rejecting the Uchiha clan sounded utterly ridiculous. Come on, aren't you the one leading the charge against the Uchiha? But Tobirama was very skilled at making his lies sound reasonable. My brother has always been lenient toward the Uchiha. He invited them to join Konoha and treated them kindly. If he learns that the Senju and Uchiha share a common ancestor, and given his guilt over having to kill his old friend Madara, he'll treat the Uchiha even more favorably. In that case, the other clans in the village will feel it's unfair. If people find out that our ancestors Asura and Indra were brothers, they'll start to question my brother's impartiality. And my brother is the first Hokage. The relationships between the ninja clans in Konoha are still fragile. Any doubts about the Hokage's fairness could cause the hard-earned peace to collapse. Tobirama circled back to his original point. Lord Emiya, for the sake of Konoha and the peace of the ninja world, I must ask you to keep these ancient secrets hidden. Quote. Emiya Shigen struggled to find a reason to refuse. Tobirama's argument was so well crafted and morally sound. His words practically shamed Shigen into agreeing, as if saying, "You wouldn't want to see the ninja world fall into chaos again, would you? Being a good person is so exhausting." Fortunately for Shigen, he was also good at moral manipulation. "I'll try my best not to say anything wrong." Shigen shook his head, hesitating slightly as he explained, "In my time, people often communicated through chakra during spiritual training. We were open with each other and rarely hid our thoughts. I'm not very good at hiding my true feelings. I apologize in advance if I accidentally slip up." Tobirama sighed deeply, his expression thoughtful. "No need to apologize. If anything, I envy the way things were in your era." "I've heard legends about the Sage of Six Paths," Tobirama said wistfully. "It's said that during the early days of the ninja religion, people respected and understood one another." "I didn't expect those legends to be true." "Not entirely," Shigen corrected with a sheepish smile. "For example, no one in the ninja religion could understand Indra's ideology. That's why he left and tried to destroy the village using the Sharingan. In the end, Asura united everyone's chakra to defeat him." "What?" Tobirama's expression darkened. "That inherently evil Uchiha ancestor." The story sounded eerily familiar to him. Madara Uchiha had also left Konoha and tried to destroy it. In the end, Hashirama had to kill him to stop his evil plot. Madara and Indra were cut from the same cloth. By the way, Shigen changed the topic with a subtle smile. "You seem to have a good relationship with your brother. That kind of sibling bond is rare." "Of course." Tobirama's expression softened as he thought of his brother. "He's taken care of me since we were children." Emiya Shigen, he's really a good person, Tobirama thought. The two of them had a pleasant conversation, and Tobirama felt that Shigen confirmed his belief that ancient ninjas were genuinely kind-hearted people. Except, of course, for the inherently evil Uchiha ancestor. "Let's go in." Tobirama pushed open the door to the hospital ward, his tone turning respectful. "My brother's injuries are beyond our ability to heal. We can only rely on you now, Lord Emiya. No need to be so formal." Shigen waved his hand dismissively and walked into the room. His demeanor became more serious. "I'm a medical ninja. I won't let my patient down." The room smelled faintly of flowers. Shigen's gaze fell on the man lying on the bed. The man had long black hair and was wrapped in bandages from head to toe. His breathing was steady, but he remained motionless. The first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. Without a doubt, the most powerful ninja of this era. "My brother has never been this weak." Tobirama stood beside Shigen, his expression grim. His battle with Madara Uchiha drained almost all of his chakra. "Let me take a look." Shigen placed his fingers on Hashirama's wrist, checking his condition. "A wood release user." Shigen looked surprised, lost in thought. Theoretically, wood release originates from the power of the god tree. Asura only awakened it after receiving chakra from the Sage of Six Paths. It's not a power that should be inherited by later generations. "My brother awakened it as an adult," Tobirama interjected, carefully noting Shigen's words. "How is he?" "Don't worry." Shigen offered a reassuring smile. "His self-healing abilities are remarkable. His injuries haven't healed yet because his chakra is depleted. Once his chakra recovers, he'll be fine." Tobirama frowned. That much was obvious to him already. But, Shigen's expression grew serious. His overuse of self-healing has caused his cells to divide too rapidly, shortening his lifespan. He's also used too much of his life energy to strengthen his wood release. "Is there a solution?" Tobirama's tension eased. "Can you fix it?" In ancient times, this would have been a minor issue. Shigen's eyes narrowed slightly in regret. "I could heal him with yang release. But in my current Edo Tensei state, I'm as good as dead. I can't use that power. If only I could achieve a true resurrection." Shigen's gaze lingered on Hashirama for a moment before turning to Tobirama. "What a pity. If someone more gullible had resurrected me, I could have used my Rinnegan to achieve full revival by now." 13 comments 0 vote. How can you have such a delusional idea? Sometimes, it's better not to speak too plainly. Emiya Shigen couldn't directly tell Senju Tobirama, just fully revive me, and I can heal your brother. Tobirama was naturally suspicious. If Shigen made his intentions too obvious, Tobirama would inevitably suspect that this resurrection was part of some grand scheme. Which, of course, it was. Because it was a scheme, Shigen needed to carefully nurture it over time. A well-crafted plan takes patience to unfold. If rushed, the entire conspiracy would fall apart. But Tobirama didn't seem to care at all about whether Shigen could achieve true resurrection. Instead, he was more concerned about the mysterious yang release that Shigen had mentioned. Lord Emiya, what exactly is this yang release? Tobirama furrowed his brows as he pondered aloud. This seems to be related to yang chakra. I recall that yang chakra can be used to create various powerful secret techniques, and medical ninjutsu often involves manipulating yang chakra. For instance, the Akamichi clan in Konoha. Tobirama knew that the Akamichi specialized in using yang chakra to perform their signature expansion jutsu, which allowed them to temporarily enlarge their bodies and increase their strength. You're right, yang release is the pinnacle of yang chakra. Emiya Shigen patiently explained the concept of yang release, weaving his words to subtly tempt Tobirama. With yang release, one can create life out of thin air. It can regenerate lost limbs and quickly heal damaged organs. And naturally, Shigen's gaze drifted toward Hashirama, lying unconscious on the bed. It can restore life to those whose vitality has been depleted. It can let them keep living. Tobirama's eyes lit up with curiosity. Then, he asked the most crucial question. How can a ninja refine their yang chakra to its peak and obtain this yang release? That's not easy. Shigen's eyes gleamed briefly as he sighed, playing his role perfectly. The simplest way is for someone who already possesses yang release to share their power with another person. And your brother is the most suitable candidate to receive my yang release. Shigen raised his hand, where a faint green glow of chakra briefly flickered before fading. Unfortunately, when I was resurrected, my yang release vanished without a trace. I have no idea why. Quote. Tobirama took a deep breath. I apologize. It must have been my mistake. Tobirama bowed his head slightly, taking responsibility. The issue likely lies in my Edo Tensei technique. This was my first time using it. It's fine. Shigen didn't blame him. Instead, he gently dug the trap deeper. Perhaps it's because this body isn't my original one. Or maybe my yang chakra simply dissipated in the afterlife. Tobirama nodded thoughtfully. Quote. Shigen internally raised a giant question mark. Wait, what? You really think this is my fault? No way. The problem is obviously with your sloppy jutsu, not with me, an ancient expert. To ensure the Edo Tensei ritual would succeed, I deliberately lingered in the afterlife and willingly answered the summon. If I hadn't cooperated, there's no way your clumsy jutsu would have worked. This is giving me a headache, Shigen thought. Given the circumstances, Shigen decided to play along for now. At least this gave him a valid excuse to remain in the living world. Even if he was bound to his Edo Tensei body, he could bide his time. There would be other opportunities to achieve a true resurrection. Let's leave it for now. Shigen sighed as he looked at Hashirama's unconscious form. I'll try a different medical approach first. I'll attempt to suppress his chakra and stop his self-healing ability from causing his cells to divide too rapidly. That won't be easy. Tobirama agreed with Shigen's method but remained skeptical. My brother's chakra is incredibly strong. Suppressing it will be difficult. Indeed, it's very strong. Shigen raised a finger, which now glowed with a dark, ominous chakra. It's almost on par with your ancestor, Asura. What's that? Tobirama's expression turned serious. A curse mark. Shigen explained calmly. This mark is formed by natural energy. It suppresses the target's chakra. If they try to use chakra recklessly, the curse will paralyze them. But I'm not sure if it will work on him. Shigen's tone was cautious, as if he wasn't entirely confident. Your brother has traces of sage mode in his body. His cells might adapt to the curse mark's energy too easily, making it ineffective. Natural energy. Tobirama's interest was piqued. Could you let me examine it? I have some understanding of certain techniques. Perhaps I could help refine it. Perfect. Shigen thought this was the ideal scenario. Tobirama was naturally cautious, preferring to verify things for himself. Even though he trusted Shigen, he couldn't fully trust anyone when it came to his brother's life. "I'm just a bit worried," Shigen murmured, his expression growing slightly anxious. "Is there a problem?" Tobirama asked, raising an eyebrow. "This isn't a conventional medical technique," Shigen explained sincerely. "While the curse mark temporarily seals someone's chakra, if the marked person fully masters it, they'll gain even stronger chakra. I worry that spreading the curse mark might be like spreading chakra itself. It could become another tool for conflict." Shigen sighed deeply, his voice filled with melancholy. When the Sage of Six Paths and Asura spread the concept of chakra to the world, many people feared it would be used for violence. But we believed that people would use chakra to help each other and ease suffering. Looking back now, we were wrong. Chakra has become a weapon for endless battles. "Lord Emiya," Tobirama's tone softened, "that wasn't your fault." He offered words of reassurance. "The problem isn't with the power itself. The problem lies with the greedy hearts of those who refuse to be content. Rest assured, I won't spread the curse mark." Tobirama raised his hand, making a solemn vow. "And if I ever use the curse mark for conflict, may my soul never find peace in the afterlife." "That's not necessary." Shigen's eye twitched slightly. "Wait a second, Tobirama, do you even hear yourself? You invented Edo Tensei, a jutsu that literally disturbs the peace of the dead. And you still think your soul will rest peacefully?" But since Tobirama had made such a serious vow, Shigen decided to go along with it. Very well, Shigen carefully placed the curse mark on Tobirama. After all, if Tobirama ever discovered the truth and tried to undo Edo Tensei, this curse mark would give Shigen a way to counter him. 4 comments 0 vote. Madara, Madara, Madara. It's always Madara. Feel it for yourself. With a casual motion, Emiya Shigen placed a pitch-black curse mark on Senju Tobirama's arm. The mark even took the shape of Konoha's iconic swirling Uzumaki symbol. "Chakra. As expected, I can't channel it." Tobirama raised his hand and attempted to use chakra, but the curse mark flowed through his body like a warm current, sealing his chakra and even causing his body to stiffen. But Tobirama was, without a doubt, a ninjutsu genius. The moment he realized he couldn't overpower the curse mark, he quickly adjusted his approach, allowing the curse energy to merge with his own chakra instead of resisting it. This power! A flicker of surprise crossed Tobirama's face. The curse mark, infused with natural energy, significantly enhanced his strength when merged with his chakra. Tobirama couldn't deny the truth. Emiya Shigen's concerns about the curse mark causing future conflicts were valid. If an ordinary ninja obtained a curse mark, they could potentially gain Jonin-level chakra output. With proper training, they would become a formidable force on the battlefield. The only issue was, the curse mark wasn't easy to control. Tobirama understood that his extensive knowledge of ninjutsu principles was the only reason he could quickly grasp how to manipulate the curse mark's energy. Even so, he couldn't fully master it. Unfortunately, Tobirama had made a promise to never use the curse mark for conflict. He could only hope that Konoha's peace would last, so he wouldn't be tempted to use this power during desperate times. "Let me help you remove the curse mark." Emiya Shigen moved to undo the mark, appearing genuinely concerned that Tobirama's movements might remain restricted. As he slowly formed hand signs, Shigen explained, "This basic use of natural energy is too easily learned. I only hope this power doesn't bring more wars to the world." "Lord Emiya," Tobirama reached out to grab Shigen's wrist. "There's no need to remove it just yet. I need to observe how the curse mark affects my chakra over time. I need to understand how long it can suppress my brother's chakra." This ancient medical ninja is too naive. Perhaps, Tobirama thought, Shigen assumed that the ninjas of this era were as talented as those from his time. Natural energy, it's not that easy to master. Tobirama had seen natural energy before. His brother, Senju Hashirama, had mastered sage mode by harnessing natural energy. Tobirama had always been curious about it but lacked the innate talent to sense it himself. He understood the value of this curse mark. A slight pang of guilt flickered in his heart. For Tobirama, power meant survival. Power allowed him to gain control over uncertain situations. Whether it was internal unrest in Konoha or external threats from rival villages, Tobirama couldn't afford to pass up any opportunity to strengthen his position. He silently promised himself, "I will only use this power in the most desperate of times." Of course, there was no need to tell Shigen that. You and your brother seem to have a great relationship. Shigen shook his head, his tone tinged with melancholy. Perhaps he couldn't fully understand Tobirama's motivations, having witnessed the brotherly conflict of Asura and Indra during his time. He sighed and warned Tobirama. If you don't remove the curse mark, your movements might. No need to worry. Tobirama raised his arm, showing how the curse mark's energy flowed through his body like water. It didn't hinder him at all. At this rate, I'll fully master the curse mark by the end of the day, Tobirama thought confidently. I've already grasped the core principles. Tobirama glanced at his brother on the hospital bed and quickly shifted the topic. Let's place the curse mark on my brother. He has mastered Sage Mode, so he might absorb it more effectively. I've been worried about that. Shigen sighed, extending a hand toward Hashirama's arm. A dark curse mark appeared and vanished just as quickly. As expected, the natural energy in the mark was immediately absorbed by Hashirama's body. Hashirama's body naturally converted the curse energy into Sage Chakra, causing him to unconsciously enter Sage Mode. On the bed, Hashirama's face twitched. His expression grew pained, and he muttered his first words since falling unconscious. Madara, quote. Tobirama's face darkened immediately. Seriously, of all the things to say, you're still muttering Madara's name. Even in a coma, his brother couldn't stop thinking about that traitorous Uchiha. That bastard Madara who tried to destroy Konoha with the 9 tails. That bastard Madara who left Hashirama with injuries that shortened his lifespan. And yet, even now, he's still worried about that bastard. He should wake up soon, Shigen said softly, breaking the tense silence. Although my curse mark didn't work as intended, his body has automatically absorbed the natural energy to enter Sage Mode. His healing will improve, but it might also worsen his lifespan loss if he keeps using that chakra. However, as long as he doesn't use his chakra recklessly after waking up, his self-healing won't cause further damage. Shigen sighed again. As for the lifespan he's already lost, I'll need to find a way to fix that. In my time, I relied heavily on yang release to heal patients. My medical techniques have fallen behind without it. Thank you. The tension in Tobirama's eyes finally eased. It worked. Emiya Shigen had saved his brother. Tobirama's thoughts drifted to the battlefield where he had carried Hashirama back from his fight with Madara. At that time, Konoha's best medical ninjas had been completely helpless. Tobirama's heart was filled with gratitude. Shigen had not only saved Hashirama but had also been unbothered by being summoned back from the dead and even offered to help repair his brother's damaged lifespan. I'm truly grateful. Tobirama bowed slightly, his tone sincere. Without you, Lord Emiya, the world wouldn't have medical ninjas willing to save lives. But before Shigen could respond with modesty, Tobirama's real motive slipped out. My brother's life is tied to the peace of Konoha. His survival holds the hopes of everyone in this village. We'll be counting on you for a long time. That was Tobirama's selfish wish. He had no intention of ending Edo Tensei anytime soon. After all, he had already gained valuable knowledge about the ancient era from Shigen. He had even obtained a curse mark infused with natural energy. Emiya Shigen was a treasure trove of knowledge. If Shigen hadn't been able to help with Hashirama's injuries, Tobirama would have been forced to let him return to the afterlife. But now, Shigen's selfless devotion to helping Hashirama made Tobirama feel like they were a perfect match. Shigen thought so too. Of course, Shigen had to maintain his image as a benevolent medical ninja, so he glanced at Hashirama and gently reminded Tobirama. He's about to wake up. As Shigen predicted, Hashirama's eyebrows twitched, and the sage markings on his face faded. The first Hokage suddenly sat bolt upright in bed, as if waking from a terrible nightmare. He gasped for breath and, with fear in his voice, shouted the name of his closest friend and greatest enemy. Madara. 8 comments 0 vote. My ally's pawn is my pawn. Madara, Madara, Madara. What's so great about that damn Uchiha Madara? Even now, my brother is still thinking about him. Inwardly, Senju Tobirama cursed his brother's soft-heartedness. But in front of the outsider, Emiya Shigen, he felt the need to preserve some dignity for Hashirama. Brother. Tobirama stepped forward and placed a firm hand on Hashirama's shoulder, trying to calm him down. Take a moment to compose yourself. Who's there? Hashirama's eyes darted up defensively before softening. Oh, it's you, Tobirama. Seeing his brother, Hashirama's panicked expression slowly eased, but the fear from his nightmare still lingered. Tobirama. Hashirama stared at his hands, trembling slightly. I dreamed that I killed Madara. Brother. Tobirama's expression hardened. It wasn't a dream. Hashirama's body suddenly slumped. His hands fell limply by his sides, and his face twisted in visible pain. Tobirama, I think, I really did kill him. Slowly, Hashirama raised a trembling hand to his forehead. Tears began to stream down his cheeks. Tobirama remained silent for a moment. Though he personally believed that killing Madara had been the right decision, he knew how deeply the loss would hurt his brother. Tobirama had witnessed firsthand the bond between Hashirama and Madara, a friendship born amidst the bitter feud between their clans. It was a bond that Hashirama had cherished, even at the cost of his own life. But in the end, that bond had been severed. And it was Hashirama himself who had cut it, by killing Madara with his own hands. Brother. Tobirama gently patted Hashirama's shoulder. Don't forget, Madara wanted to destroy Konoha with the 9 tails. You killed him to protect the village we all built together. To protect the village. Hashirama's eyes grew distant. Yes, it was that thought, the desire to protect Konoha, that had ultimately driven him to kill his closest friend. Konoha was their shared dream, something they had built together. Madara had even come up with the name Konoha. But in their final battle, Madara hadn't intended to kill him. Madara still believed that, as always, a single battle would be enough to settle their differences, to force Hashirama to bend to his will and accept his vision for Konoha. However, Hashirama knew better. His love for Konoha had grown stronger than his friendship with Madara. And because of that, he had made the decision to kill him. But that choice left Hashirama with unbearable sorrow. He had sacrificed his most cherished bond to protect Konoha. The pain was overwhelming. Hashirama sat on the bed, his hands gripping the blanket, his tears falling uncontrollably as he recalled his memories of Madara. Let the patient rest for a while. Emiya Shigen stood up and spoke gently to Tobirama. He's emotionally unstable, it's best to leave him alone for now. And, make sure he doesn't use chakra to heal himself. His rapid cell regeneration will only worsen his condition. Understood. Tobirama carefully helped his brother lie down again. Hashirama lay motionless on the bed, his tears still falling, completely unaware of Shigen's presence. Brother, get some more rest. Tobirama pulled the blanket over him and continued his instructions. Don't use chakra to heal yourself. Control your self-healing ability. Wait, Hashirama suddenly grabbed his brother's wrist. Tobirama, did you bring back Madara's body? It has been dealt with and buried. Tobirama's gaze flickered slightly. A lie, he had hidden Madara's body. After all, Madara was the strongest Uchiha and possessed the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. From a research perspective, Madara's body was invaluable. Tobirama wanted to dissect Madara's corpse to figure out how to neutralize the Sharingan's power. Naturally, he had no intention of wasting this opportunity. Besides, Tobirama had always hated Madara. He couldn't care less about respecting Madara's remains. But, his brother must never know. However, Emiya Shigen had already noticed. Shigen had been silently observing the Senju brothers' conversation. He saw the flicker in Tobirama's eyes and instantly guessed what Tobirama had done. Shigen smiled subtly. Based on his knowledge of Konoha's history from his past life, he knew exactly where Tobirama had hidden Madara's body. If my guess is right, I think I know where my old ally is. Shigen chuckled to himself. My pawn. No, my ally. And my ally's pawn is my pawn as well. I hope my dear ally, Black Zetsu, won't hold a grudge over my betrayal from back then. In this era, I've come to see the error of my ways. In the hidden mountains of Konoha, deep within a secret underground chamber, a pitch-black figure emerged from the earth. It was Black Zetsu, an ancient and enigmatic creature with a mysterious, unnatural lifespan. Zetsu stood silently, staring at the sealed coffin in the center of the room. His expressionless face twisted slightly in confusion. Madara's dead. What the hell? Madara's dead. This made no sense. Madara had been the perfect pawn, carefully groomed over centuries. The last pawn that had been this promising was Emiya Shigen himself, over 1,000 years ago. Shigen's brilliant mind and grand dreams had made him an even better candidate than Indra. But in the end, Shigen had been too naive. He believed in Asura's ideals and was convinced that the ninja world could become a utopia through peace and medical ninjutsu. Such a fool, Zetsu muttered bitterly, believing that chakra was a force of happiness. Humans would always fight over resources. And any powerful tool would inevitably become a more efficient weapon. What a waste, Zetsu sighed. Shigen was so smart. Too bad he was too kind-hearted to realize the truth. Still, if Shigen were alive now, he'd regret trusting Asura. Zetsu's eyes darkened with sorrow. Shigen had been his favorite pawn. Compared to Madara, Shigen had been far superior. Madara, after all, was too arrogant and stubborn. And now, with Madara dead, the plan seemed doomed. Madara's dead, should I wait for another millennium? Or, maybe I should just take his eyes. As Zetsu pondered his next move, the coffin suddenly creaked. Startled, Zetsu quickly sank back into the earth, blending into the shadows. The coffin began to stir. Zetsu cautiously peeked out from his hidden spot, keeping a watchful eye on the unexpected movement inside the sealed coffin. 5 comments 0 vote. Black Zetsu, feels like seeing a friend who died 1,000 years ago. Crack, the coffin in the hidden underground chamber creaked open. A strong-built man slowly emerged from inside. His long hair hung loosely over his shoulders, and as soon as he climbed out, he spat out a chunk of flesh into his right palm. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Uchiha Madara savored the taste of life once more. No one in the ninja world would have imagined it. Uchiha Madara was still alive. The entire world believed that Senju Hashirama had killed him with his own hands. Madara tilted his head up, taking in his surroundings, a hidden chamber deep within Konoha's mountains. With a sneer, he mocked the man he despised most. Tobirama, you sly bastard. Even after I was defeated by Hashirama, that sneaky snake wouldn't dare get rid of my corpse immediately. Just as I expected. Madara raised his left hand to his right eye socket. One of his eyes was a dull gray, blinded. This was the cost of his resurrection. I knew it would work, Madara murmured to himself, reaffirming his earlier gamble. Before his final battle with Hashirama, Madara had carefully prepared a backup plan. He had used Izanagi, the ultimate forbidden technique of the Uchiha, along with rewrite sealing, to delay the technique's activation. Izanagi could turn death into a fleeting dream. And rewrite sealing allowed an Uchiha to pre-program techniques into their Sharingan, setting them to activate at specific times or under certain conditions. Even after death, Madara ran his fingers over his blinded eye, a trace of regret flickering in his expression. It's a shame, I had to sacrifice the eye my brother Izuna gave me. The eye he lost was a precious gift from his younger brother, Uchiha Izuna. But Madara quickly pushed aside his regret. He had achieved his true goal. The battle with Hashirama had given him what he really sought. A piece of Hashirama's flesh. Madara clenched the chunk of bloodied flesh he had bitten from Hashirama during their fight. This is far more important than the battle itself. The outcome of the battle no longer mattered to him. What mattered was this priceless trophy, Hashirama's cells. Hashirama, this time, my plan succeeded. Madara's eyes gleamed with ambition. If I graft this flesh into my wounds, I'll gain Hashirama's cells. And with that, I should be able to awaken his chakra. His grip tightened around the flesh. He could feel its pulsating life force. Victory was within his grasp. Madara whispered to himself, recalling ancient theories about chakra. The union of opposing forces creates all things. Perhaps, the fusion of the Senju and Uchiha chakras is the key to the power to save this world. I hope it doesn't disappoint me. Before leaving the chamber, Madara formed a hand seal. Ninja art. Shadow clone jutsu. Poof. A shadow clone appeared beside him. Madara watched as the shadow clone climbed back into the coffin, taking his place as the corpse. A cold smile crept across his face. HMPH. I'll leave a clone behind. If something happens to my clone, all the information it gathers will return to me upon dispelling. This way, I'll know immediately when Tobirama realizes my body isn't real. I can prepare accordingly. Madara wasn't naive enough to think his feigned death would fool everyone forever. But he hoped it would buy him enough time to fully harness the power of Hashirama's cells. The shadow clone jutsu was an invaluable tool for ninja like Madara. Leaving behind a shadow clone would act as a safety mechanism. Satisfied with his preparations, Madara slipped out of the hidden chamber. His next task was to find a quiet place to graft Hashirama's cells into his body. But before that, Madara wanted one last look at Hashirama. Their final battle had been the most intense and personal clash they'd ever had. Madara knew he'd lost, but he also knew that Hashirama had suffered grave injuries. Perhaps, Hashirama was on the brink of death. Madara knew Hashirama's self-healing was unmatched, but he doubted his old friend would recover so quickly. One last visit, a farewell to my old self. Madara had already resolved that the next time they met, he wouldn't hesitate. Hashirama, I've learned from you. Madara recalled the final moments of their battle. When Hashirama stabbed him through the back with a blade. Hashirama, Madara clenched his fists, his teeth gritting as his resolve solidified. I will become like you. No matter who it is, my brother, my friend, my child. I'll kill anyone who stands in the way of my dream. Hashirama, this is what you've taught me. This dark resolve. I accept it. Madara's mood lightened. Once he made up his mind, everything seemed easier. His steps took him toward the darkness of Konoha. Konoha's defenses were tight, but to Madara, they were nothing more than child's play. In all of Konoha, only Hashirama posed a true threat to him. But, Madara had no idea. As he walked away from the chamber, a shadowy figure followed silently beneath the ground. Black Zetsu. Madara's as cunning as ever. Zetsu was impressed by Madara's plan. Even it had almost been fooled. A sinister smile spread across Zetsu's face. I didn't expect to see hope for my plan in Madara. It felt like the tides had turned. Zetsu's heart was brimming with glee. I'll help you, Madara. Zetsu slithered beneath the ground, silently tracking Madara's movements. I'll make sure Tobirama is too busy to notice Madara's fake corpse. As long as no one notices Madara's deception. Zetsu grinned. Madara will have all the time he needs to awaken the Rinnegan. And when that happens, it'll be my time to make my move. But suddenly, Madara halted. Zetsu noticed the shift, confused. Did he sense me? Zetsu frowned. Impossible. I've been hiding like this since I watched over Indra. Even the Sage of Six Paths couldn't detect me. Then Zetsu saw what Madara was looking at. Two figures walking down the streets of Konoha, discussing Hashirama's condition. One was Tobirama, the other. At first, Zetsu thought it was just an ordinary Konoha ninja. Until he took a closer look. And in that instant, Zetsu froze. Wait, is this still the same world? Why, does that man look like Emiya Shigen? 9 comments 0 vote. Emiya Shigen, Uchiha Madara, where is this place? Black Zetsu couldn't quite figure out the location. When is this? He was struggling to grasp the timeline. Am I really in the ninja world, 1,000 years later? A hint of self-doubt crept into Black Zetsu's mind as he stood hidden in the shadows, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. It's supposed to be a joyous occasion when you encounter a long-lost friend. But meeting someone who should be long dead, at a time when they absolutely shouldn't exist, causes more confusion than happiness. This was the exact situation Black Zetsu found himself in. He stared at the man walking alongside Tobirama on the streets of Konoha, a man who shouldn't be alive. His mind spiraled into confusion. Emiya Shigen, a name that shouldn't exist in this timeline. How is he here? Black Zetsu felt his worldview shatter. He knew he hadn't made any mistakes. He had lived through over 1,000 years of careful planning, spreading war and manipulating key figures in ninja history, all while never losing track of time. There was no way he could have miscalculated by 1,000 years. Then, was he hallucinating? Am I going insane from living too long? Zetsu questioned himself, feeling as if he was losing grip on reality. But no matter how much he questioned it, the man standing there was undeniably Emiya Shigen. The same Emiya Shigen who had lived over 1,000 years ago. Impossible, that man died long ago. Emiya Shigen, a man whose name was revered in ancient times. A legendary medical ninja whose innovations laid the foundation for the entire medical ninja system. He was kind-hearted, brilliant, and naively idealistic. And yet, there he was. Alive, walking beside Senju Tobirama in this modern ninja world. Am I seeing things? Is this some spirit from the past? No, Zetsu wasn't seeing things. It wasn't a spirit. It was really Emiya Shigen. And he looked very much alive. Damn it, Zetsu was utterly confused by the sight before him. For Black Zetsu, the death of Emiya Shigen had been one of his greatest regrets. Back in ancient times, Zetsu had almost succeeded in using Emiya as a pawn to fulfill Kagai's revival plan. But Emiya had betrayed him. Back then, Emiya Shigen had allied with Ashura. He believed in peace through mutual understanding and hoped to heal the world with his medical ninjutsu. Zetsu, however, saw him as a naive fool. Why is this man still alive? Zetsu remained hidden, staring at Emiya's every move from the shadows, still unable to comprehend the situation. In the distance, Emiya Shigen was completely unaware of Black Zetsu's presence. He continued walking alongside Tobirama, discussing Senju Hashirama's recovery. "Let's shift the patient's focus for now," Emiya suggested gently. His voice was calm and composed, as if he wasn't the slightest bit aware of the two figures lurking in the shadows, Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu. "As his family member, you should try to give him something new to focus on," Emiya continued. "Killing his friend has taken a heavy toll on him." Black Zetsu observed how Emiya Shigen effortlessly guided Tobirama in addressing Hashirama's emotional state. "Still, the fact that he's here, I need to know what's going on." As Zetsu continued to watch, he noticed that Tobirama didn't seem to detect anything unusual. Despite being known for his sharp perception and mastery of sensory techniques, Tobirama seemed completely oblivious to both Madara and Black Zetsu's presence. It made sense. Tobirama was currently restraining his chakra use due to the curse mark that Emiya had placed on him earlier. "Let me think," Tobirama muttered to himself, deep in thought. "How can I get my brother to stop obsessing over Madara?" Tobirama quickly came up with an idea. "I'll have him spend time with the children in the village. That's what my brother truly cares about. The future of this village." "That's a good idea," Emiya Shigen nodded approvingly. "I'll continue searching for a way to extend his lifespan in the meantime." "Thank you," Tobirama replied, visibly relieved. Still, Tobirama couldn't fully relax. He always prepared for the worst-case scenario. After a moment, he spoke again. "I didn't ask earlier in the hospital, because it wasn't appropriate. But now I must know." Tobirama crossed his arms, his expression grave. "If you can't find a way to save him, how much time does my brother have left?" The night air around them grew eerily still. Even Madara, hidden in the shadows, held his breath. For Madara, Hashirama's life mattered. Madara wanted to show Hashirama that he had found the true path to peace. For Tobirama, Hashirama's survival was essential for the stability of both Konoha and the entire ninja world. Without Hashirama, the fragile peace they had built could collapse overnight. After a long pause, Emiya Shigen finally gave his answer. 10 years. If I can't find any solutions, and if he doesn't exert himself further, he'll have no more than 10 years left. 10 years. Tobirama's expression darkened. For someone as young and powerful as Hashirama, 10 years was far too short. Tobirama quickly calculated the implications. In just 10 years, Konoha could fall apart. The other clans in Konoha haven't fully committed to the village yet, he thought. They were still proud of their own clans and names. If Hashirama were to die, there was no guarantee that these clans would remain loyal to Konoha. Tobirama's mind hardened with resolve. He had to find a way to ensure Konoha's survival before his brother passed away. "I understand." With that, Tobirama quickened his pace, heading toward the Hokage building as he discussed Emiya's accommodations. Meanwhile, Madara watched them from afar. 10 years. Madara's eyes narrowed before he melted back into the shadows, heading toward the Konoha hospital. But Black Zetsu didn't follow Madara. Instead, he remained where he was, staring intently in the direction where Tobirama and Emiya Shigen had disappeared. His heart pounding. This can't be. That man. Why does he look exactly like Emiya Shigen? A man who's been dead for over 1,000 years. 8 comments 0 vote. Black Zetsu reflects on his most remarkable pawn. It's really him. Black Zetsu was conflicted. It was a strange mix of joy and unease. Emiya Shigen's sudden appearance in this era was completely unexpected. Even though Emiya betrayed Black Zetsu during the ancient era, Zetsu couldn't help but feel nostalgic about their time working together. This was a peculiar feeling. It felt like encountering someone breathtaking during the lowest point of your life. Every time Black Zetsu thought about Emiya Shigen, memories of their first encounter would flood back. That day, Emiya Shigen was trying to assassinate Indra. At that time, Indra had only awakened the 3-Tomo Sharingan. And back then, Black Zetsu thought Shigen was just a small fry looking to die. But what followed nearly scared Black Zetsu to death. Because Shigen wasn't an ordinary man. He had gained the power of wood release and natural energy from remnants of the God Tree. He was a master swordsman and taijutsu expert, accompanied by a tiny slug on his shoulder. In their battle, Shigen utterly dominated Indra, leaving him with no chance to fight back. At first, Black Zetsu was lurking in the shadows to aid Indra if needed. But Shigen noticed him. Realizing that Indra had backup, Shigen abandoned the assassination attempt and left. But Zetsu couldn't escape. That was the day Black Zetsu was forced to introduce himself to Emiya Shigen. And that's when he learned of Shigen's true intentions. Emiya Shigen's goal was to destroy the ninja system created by Hagoromo. After all, Hagoromo's teachings had spread too far. Many of his disciples left to share the knowledge of chakra in their homelands. Some disciples used chakra for good, helping their people. But others became greedy, using chakra to seize power and wealth. Emiya Shigen had been a victim of that greed. One day, a former ninja monk, now a rogue shinobi, massacred an entire village just to steal a few bottles of sake. Emiya survived only because he had been traveling outside the village. Driven by vengeance, Emiya Shigen prayed to the remnants of the God Tree, hoping for power to bring justice. In return, the God Tree's remnants granted him wood release. But no matter how powerful his newfound abilities were, to challenge Hagoromo the Sage of Six Paths was nothing short of madness. At that time, Black Zetsu didn't think Emiya would amount to much. He barely paid attention to the man afterward. All Zetsu knew was that Emiya Shigen wandered the ninja world, saving lives and spreading his philosophy of medical ninjutsu. Meanwhile, Black Zetsu was on top of the world. For the first time, his plan was succeeding. He had successfully manipulated Indra into fighting Ashura, hoping that Indra would steal Ashura's power and awaken the Rinnegan. But then, Indra lost. Humiliated by defeat, Indra vanished into the shadows. And Black Zetsu's first grand plan crumbled. Defeated and dejected, Zetsu went into hiding. While Zetsu was licking his wounds, Emiya Shigen was still out there, saving people. Shigen preached that chakra should be used to relieve people's pain, not as a weapon to cause suffering. During those dark years, Emiya Shigen's influence grew. He became more respected than even Hagoromo himself. Why? Because Hagoromo had destroyed humanity's faith by cutting down the God Tree. But Shigen never abandoned the people's beliefs. He still respected the divinity of the natural world and used his power to heal. People revered him. Even Hagoromo and Ashura held deep admiration for Shigen. He wasn't just a healer. He was the founder of medical ninjutsu. A man who endured humanity's unbearable suffering and still chose to bring relief. Even Black Zetsu admired him. It was rare for a villain to like a hero. But Zetsu found himself fascinated by Shigen's unwavering kindness. And as a master manipulator, Zetsu saw Shigen as the perfect pawn. In those dark days of defeat, Zetsu found solace in Shigen's company. Together, they mocked Hagoromo's hypocrisy and criticized the rogue disciples of the ninja religion. Over time, Shigen learned many secrets from Zetsu, including the origin of chakra and the truth about Hagoromo. But there was one secret that changed everything. Shigen discovered Hagoromo's corpse, driven by his thirst for knowledge. Shigen wanted to dissect the Sage of Six Paths. He wasn't seeking power. He wanted to study the human body to improve his medical techniques. Shigen was the first ninja to conduct human autopsies. He even told Zetsu that, after his death, he wanted his own body preserved as a medical specimen. Eventually, Shigen stole Hagoromo's corpse and brought it to Raichi Cave. There, he studied the sage's remains and gained a portion of his power. By the time Shigen reappeared, he had already transplanted the Rinnegan and was commanding giant slugs in battle. Zetsu had never imagined that a human could achieve such results through medical science. For a moment, Zetsu believed his plan would succeed. Shigen destroyed the ninja order. He slaughtered countless disciples and reduced their village to rubble. He was one step away from erasing Hagoromo's legacy. It was the closest Zetsu ever came to victory. But then, Shigen lost. Because he met Ashura. The two had crossed paths long ago, when Ashura was digging wells to help a struggling village. Shigen saw Ashura as a kind-hearted man. And when Ashura pleaded for peace, Shigen chose to believe him. In the end, Shigen handed his dream to Ashura. To atone for his sins, he used the Rinnegan's power to resurrect those he had killed. Afterward, He returned to Raichi Cave and prepared his body for preservation. When he reappeared, his body was sealed in a crystal coffin, entrusted to Ashura. Such a fool, Zetsu often thought to himself. If only Shigen hadn't trusted Ashura, everything would be different. Ha, ha ha ha. Zetsu let out a mocking laugh. I wonder, will Shigen regret his past choices? Now that he sees what the ninja world has become.